think you knocked on?
Thousands. I would say at least 10 to 15.
Wow.
Maybe, yeah.
Wow. How are your knuckles?
Thank God there were doorbells.
And what kind of response did you get when you were knocking on doors and saying, I'm running for city councillor? What were the responses you got from the number of people that opened the door to you and allowed you to speak to them?
So, that was actually my biggest fear.
Yeah.
It was my biggest fear to go to the doors and like have the door slammed on me. But I am so grateful that, people at the doors were very, I started early, so people weren't really thinking that, why are you here? Is it for a campaign? So they would be curious and, they would open the door and then I'd just be, I'm pretty strong, I think, at the door. And, I'd present who I am and what I'm doing and why I'm running and who, what I've done and what I want to, the changes that I want to bring. And so people would be generally impressed and they would be listening and quite receptive. I'd say very few, out of thousands homes, I still say that I can count the number of times on my hand. So I think that's a pretty good statistic.
Oh, that's great.
People were generally pretty nice. Some people were rushed. Some people would have food on their face at dinner time. It's never a good time. I know. Dinner time, any time is never a good time. But the good thing is, a couple of minutes people had, and that's pretty much the amount of time that people needed at the doors. And some people would go on and talk a little bit more, and I would be great, and let's listen to your issues. And
what were some of the issues that came up?
Well, in that area of Brampton, I'd say that the bigger issues were the growth and development. People felt that there weren't enough services to meet their needs.
And those services were?
Well, so one thing is residents don't quite know what falls under a councillor's responsibility versus an MP's or an MPP's or a trustee's. So, they would basically just say, okay, you know what, some of our issues are jobs. Okay, that's great. One of my platforms did address the Brampton economy, so I could talk to that. But, job creation is really a federal issue, right? And then some people would be, talking about how the buses don't run anymore for their children, so that they would have to take their children to school, and it's quite a far walk for them to let their young children go to school and just walk it. But
did you find a lot of people had that same kind of problem?
Yeah, a lot of people in certain areas. So I did let the people running for school trustees know that these were the issues that these houses had. So I tried to take responsibility and at least listen to the issues. I noted down the issues and I tried to direct them as needed, so that those families would at least get the answers that they were looking for. Other issues, so job creation, growth and development, school busing.
Transportation, any of that?
Transportation, yeah. In some areas, they felt that the buses just don't run often enough, frequent enough, and that was actually also another one of my platforms. So I did create my platforms based on what those needs were. So, I did start off with a business card, and I had an idea as far as,
Before we go any further, I just wanted to say the business card says here, change is here. I thought that was really, really cute.
A lot of people actually gave me that same
I'll never forget your name.
Oh, thank you. And that's the goal.
Yeah. Were you discouraged, though, by the outcome, even though you did not win? How did you feel about that?
So I guess there's like a 90% chance that an incumbent will win again. I was in denial of that, obviously. I went, right so that I could win.
Yeah, and that should be hard.
And that should be, that should always be. So I worked very hard. The 6 months that I was out there, I really did work, and I talked to a lot of people, and but I was told, that, what, it's your first time, so don't worry if you don't win. And I said,